Yo, what's on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm gonna go over all the trades that we took this week on how we stay green, during this choppy time. A lot of people I saw got absolutely murdered this week, taking some losses, being right on the week because they don't have a system that can navigate them through the choppy times like this, like we have with the system. So again, every day at open, I go to the 30-minute, and or not even at open. I mean, before the day even starts, I know pretty much kind of what we're looking like. But at open, pull up the 30-minute chart here on the Friday contracts, and it tells you the trend in the market. So obviously with the past week, you guys probably know what the trend was. There wasn't any. We were neutral. So the 10's below the 50 here on the call side, and then we go to the put side, same thing. 10 is below the 50 on the put side. So 50 is the blue, 10 is the green, and since neither of these are crossed, that means we're neutral. No side has the trend at the moment, and this is when we could experience more crappy action, more chop, and the crosses won't net as big as moves, and you don't want to you don't want to be holding your position for you're trying to get a massive move. You're just trying to come out the day green, catch 50 points, and pack it up for the day and move on to the next. Because when you do that, that's the best thing you could do. Because when we are neutral, we could definitely have some bad action, and it's best just take one trade, whatever happens, happens, and then move on to the next. Because the good times will come once we get trend in the market, like we had the previous 3 weeks when the market was dumping, and you guys saw how easy it was. We're just playing the same pretty much trades every single day. 0-day cross on puts, 0-day cross on puts, 0-day cross on puts, negative cross on calls, 50 dip on puts, things like that. So it's really easy when we get trend in the market. Most people just don't know how to navigate the neutral market, and that's where they end up blowing their accounts, just taking unnecessary losses, taking way too many trades. So I try to nail in people's heads that when we are neutral, just take one trade, go lighter size when we're neutral, and then add more size when the edge is in your favor, or the trends in your favor. So that's the best way you can navigate the neutral market. Take one trade, pack it up for the day, get your green, move on. I see so many people that try and trade the system and just try and take every single trade there is in a neutral market that the system gives, and I would just not recommend doing that. You're going to end up giving back gains, taking losses that you shouldn't have, things like that. So to start off, like I said, we were neutral. So when we go back in here, this was a trade earlier in the week that we took. Very simple. 10 crosses to 50, and look at the move you got. The only bad thing about this trade was that it was hard to get an entry on this because there really wasn't any sort of pullback. So that was the biggest downside, downside to this trade. And you may or may not have taken this because of that gap that there was between where price was and the SMAs. But overall, it did work out if you took it. This goes for, again, the same thing. We're in a neutral market, so this is a 0-day cross that you would take. Again, when we're neutral, what trades do you look for? You could take any trade pretty much with the system as long as we're not at this 30-minute 50. So let's say, since these are puts, let's say that when we end up coming up into this 50 SMA, right up in here, that at this exact moment, the 0-day puts are crossing. That is a trade you do not take, because if you think about it, why would that make sense for you to take it? Because we're sitting at heavy resistance on puts, and the 0-day puts are crossing. Why would you take that risk when we're at that such a heavy resistance area on puts, and take that cross? That's just something you wouldn't take. Sometimes I do take a trade like that. It just really all depends on the scenario, because at this point down in here, this 50 is trending down super hard. Now if the 50 was flat, by flat I mean, if you look on maybe the call side shows it, if you look here on the call side, this 50 right in this area is pretty flat. That's the difference between down and flat. So if it was right here, this how this 50 looks, and we got across, I probably would give it a go, because that 50 is more likely to break since it is flat. When it's sloped down, right now on the call side, it is sloped down quite a bit, and I wouldn't take a 0-day cross if we were at that 50 on these contracts. So that's pretty much how you would gauge how to take a 0-day cross if we are at that 50, and how I do it. So back to these charts though. Again, you could take a 0-day cross either side of the premium as long as we're not at that 50 like I just showed you, and you could take a negative cross on either side of the premium, and that's pretty much all you would be looking for. And also another type of trade, I don't really go over this because I don't really trade it, but I know Colton does, and it's pretty much this 30-minute chart here of 50 reject. So this is the only time that you go to the 5-minute on the Friday contracts, but you could see what this looks like. So the only time you go to this chart is if we hit that 50 on the 30 and you want to play the rejection. So if you go to that 30-minute chart go down to the 50 or the 5 minute time frame, and then watch for the negative cross. So like right here, I'm not sure when was this. This was right at open. Yeah, okay. So this is right at open. Wouldn't have taken that, but right here we ended up popping back up into the 50 on the 30 minute, and then this went negative. So you could have taken this trade right here. It's the 10 going below the 50. The 50 started to curl. Your best entry probably would have been up in this area, because I'm not sure that 50 was completely level or not, but this pullback into the 50 SMA once it started to curl down was the spot to go short at, since these are calls. And yeah, that's a trade you could take. I've never went over that before in any of these videos, but I know that's something Colton does take. But you know, I've never taken that trade before, just putting it out there. But when we go back here, the trades that we took again next day, I think this was on Tuesday. So again, 5-minute cross on the put side. This was a trade you could have taken. 10's going below the 50. We got a nice move out of it, and yeah, that was that trade. And then you could have also bought this 50 SMA down here. I know we're neutral, and again, if you guys know the system, you don't buy the 50 dip when we're neutral, but there's certain situations where, you know, it goes against the rules of the system, and it just depends on the situation. So in this case, these are the puts, so we're looking to short. So if we do pull up the call side real quick, this was on Tuesday. So the reason why this was a valid trade to take is because of this chart right here. So the 10's going below the 50 and the 30-minute on the call side, and that's most likely going to push us lower. So that 0-day chart on the 50 is more likely to hold, and that is a trade you could take and buy that 50 dip. So it's kind of like the same scenario with a 30-minute cross, you know, a positive 30-minute cross, and when we cross, we buy the 50 dip. It's same with this like initial negative cross, and I say initial because you're not always going to be buying that 50 dip when we're neutral. It's just on the initial, you know, 10 crossing below the 50. If we already are cross below the 50, like in this area, like that's not a trade. You wouldn't be buying the 50 dip on the 0-day chart, but since this is just going negative and just crossing down, that you could buy that 50 dip on the 0-day chart. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how you go about, you know, buying that 50 dip when we're neutral. It's only when we're initially crossing negative on the 30-minute. You know, a lot of people say, oh, I thought the market is neutral, you don't buy that 50 dip. You know, there's certain situations where you can. It just, again, the system is very situational, and you know, if you just want to, like, if you're just learning right now, I would just stick to not buying the 50 dip when we're neutral, because this could be a little confusing to you maybe if you don't understand the system. So, you know, if you're just starting out, ignore what I just said. But, you know, when we're neutral, you don't buy the 50 dip. When we're trending on the 30-minute, which means this chart is crossed, 10's above the 50, 50's curling up, then you buy the 50 dip. So that's a simpler way to put it. If you're more experienced and, you know, could understand this part of it, and the 30 minutes going negative on the initial cross down, you could buy that 50 dip on the 0-day chart if it's crossed. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's why you could have bought this 50 dip. I know Colton called this out in Discord. We got paid. Another trade you could have taken. Now this is actually the same chart, not another trade. This is just a zoomed in chart of what it looks like in real time. We popped down the 50. So in this case, your stop loss is a closure below the 50. You could see we never closed below. We bounced out the 50 like 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Then we got our move. And, you know, when we get that initial pop, that 10 SMA is that spot that you want to move your stop at or take a trim at, because when we are like neutral, sometimes we pop up in the 10 and then it comes back down and crosses negative. So that 10 SMA is a critical point when we are playing those 50 bounces. So at that point, move your stop to break even, wouldn't let it go red from there, and then either you could trim some at the 50 depending on how many points it is, or just let your stop loss go break even and let this ride and see whatever gets hit, either your TPs or your stop loss. So that was that. Another trade, call this one out. I remember this one. What is this, Wednesday, I believe. Right here, call this out. 10's going above the 50. We're playing the 0-day cross on calls, and it gave a nice move. We caught, I think, like 50 to 70 points on that thing, and it was a really nice move. That's all you need when we're neutral, because when we are neutral, the trend isn't likely to continue on the 0-day chart. So what you do is, once you're up to like that 50, 60 points, just pretty much be all out. If you want to hold a little bit, sometimes I do, for it to go a little bit higher. But other than that, a lot of the times after you get that like 40 or like 50 to 60 point threshold of points, usually it ends up reversing since we're neutral, and that's exactly what happened here. We reverse back down here. Again, we are neutral, so you don't buy that 50 dip. You wait for it to get back above the 10, and we did get above the 10 right here. I went over this during this week, but since this 10 SMA right here is down super hard, I would not be taking that reclaim. It is down super hard. You want to see it more like, what's the word, horizontal, I guess, or curling up, or not slope down as much. Like right in this reclaim right here, it looked a lot better. So I would have waited for this reclaim, there is just little things with the system that you kind of need to know that can help you out and help you not take unnecessary losses. So like this would be one of those examples, because you would have probably gotten beaten down on this, even though we never closed below the 50. You'd probably be down a decent amount. But yeah, I would wait for this reclaim right here, because that 50 or that 10 SMA looks a lot better. It's not pointed down super hard. It could be down a little bit, but not to this extent. So you would have entered right there, and look at the move. You got 10 reclaim. Very nice move. You don't buy that 50 dip again, because we are in a neutral market. You wait for the reclaim above the 10 SMA, and you get the move. Very simple. And here we go, another trade. This was I think the same day, right? The 19th, I believe. Yeah, we ended up getting this call cross right here. This is a bit higher risk, because I think JPOW was still talking. So, this might have not been the trade, to take necessarily, depending on, if he was still talking. I still don't know if he was, but we did get the 0-day cross right here, and look at the move we got. Very, very textbook cross off of that. You could have taken that if you wanted, go lighter if JPOW was talking, but I don't think he was. Like the price action wasn't funky, because a lot of times when we are, when he is talking, it gets very like wicky, and that wasn't the case. We kind of just ripped really hard. So that could have been not a trade to take, a trade to take, but that's just an example of a cross that we did get. And then on Thursday, this is what we took. It's very simple, 0-day cross on the call side. This did not give, I think we got like 50 to like 60 points on this. I mean, that's like the threshold I usually just cut it off at once I'm up that much in a neutral market. And it doesn't look like we moved at all, but I entered somewhere on this candle or this candle. I think it was this candle right here I entered off of, gave it to Discord, and we got paid. I mean, it's very simple. It doesn't seem like a lot on the contracts, but 50, 60 points on NQ, I'll take it any day of the week. I know we're neutral. It may not continue, so I'm fine with just taking that loot, moving on to the next day or the next trade, whatever it is, and leaving it at that. So that's pretty much all the trades that we took in the Discord, or that I took. I might have missed one or two that Colton called out, but that's what I took, and that's how you pretty much would have navigated this week. Again, like, I can't stress this enough. When we are neutral, man, you do not want to be taking a million trades. If you want to trade a lot, wait until that 30 minutes cross. Most people don't have the patience to, not take a million trades a day and just, sit on their hands. People want to make money and make it fast and get rich quick. Like, that's pretty much the whole problem with a lot of people, is that they just want to make as much as they can, so they're taking every single trade the system gives and not being patient in these like neutral markets. Because if you trade a lot, man, in a neutral market, you will get absolutely destroyed, and I could guarantee you that. Some neutral markets are really nasty, and you just gotta be able to recognize that, okay, we're neutral. If I'm just gonna take like one really good setup that I see, if we get a 0-day cross, I'm gonna take it, and from there I'm done. Like that's pretty much like the perspective you need to get when we're neutral. I'm telling you, because if you only traded the trending markets, like, you're not going to be red very often. I'm telling you that right now. There is not many red days when we are crossing the 30-minute. It's very easy to navigate, because you're looking, we have trend on one side. You're looking for like one or two setups that, that do very well, like 50 dip on the 0-day chart or a 0-day cross. It's very simple, and that's how you would, navigate those markets. If you, like I said, you don't need a trade when we're neutral, but most people want to trade. That's the thing. So, I don't think I've ever really met anyone that's like, I'm just not going to trade the neutral market, because most people want to continue to trade. But if you do trade it, just know that, risk a little less, like size down a little bit, and, don't hold as long. Like 50, 60 points at NQ is a beautiful trade when we're neutral. When we're at trending market, on the other hand, 50 to 60 points, I probably wouldn't trim. I'd be looking for like probably like 70 to 80 before I take anything off, and then hold the rest for over 100. But yeah, I mean, I'm telling you guys, if you guys are new to this like system, stick around, watch all the videos, because there's a load of information on the YouTube. I have a million videos going over how to trade these charts, and I guarantee you there's not a better strategy out there when it comes to trading, and you best learn it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got of what we did this week. I'll video up tomorrow going over the trades that we took on Friday, as well as the game plan going into the week and what I'm going to be looking for. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, drop a like, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, follow along with the trades throughout the day, join the Discord down below. But yeah, I'm out. Peace.